His phone lit up beside the ash. A name returned from broken glass. He watched it glow, then fade to black. Some roads do not deserve him back. The bar was low, the hour was thin. The blues guitar came wandering in. He stirred the ice but took no drink, letting old temptation sink. He knows desire can dress like fate, but peace arrives when you do not wait. He is the man who sent no reply. Let the old storm pass him by. No bitter sentence, no final line, just self-respect and borrowed time. He is the man who sent no reply, with tired truth behind his eyes. A gentleman who knows the way to win by having less to say. She once could turn his heart to flame, then leave him standing in the blame. He learned that love without a door can make a proud man beg for more. Now he sits beneath the candle shine, with silence disciplined and fine. He does not hate, he does not bend. He simply knows where stories end. He lets the past keep its disguise and saves his soul from softer lies. He is the man who sent no reply. Let the old storm pass him by. No bitter sentence, no final line, just self-respect and borrowed time. He is the man who sent no reply, with tired truth behind his eyes. A gentleman who knows the way to win by having less to say. The hardest words are often numb. The deepest strength is walking on. A quiet heart can close the gate before the wound becomes its fate. The screen stays dark, the candle low. He rises when the horns play slow. No message sent, no reason why. Just the man who sent no reply. He walks in slow with the evening on his back, a charcoal coat and a heart off track. candle catches the edge of his glass, while old mistakes learn how to pass. He has 1,000 words behind his teeth and a storm folded neatly underneath. But he nods to the room with a quiet grace, no broken weather on his face. He knows the burden, he knows the bill. He carries thunder and keeps it still. It is the weight he wears well, the private road he will not tell, a gentleman shaped by the things he hides, walking calm where the darkness rides. It is the weight he wears well. No ringing cry, no warning bell. He holds his pain like a polished shell. That is the weight he wears well. The singer bends a note into blue. He thinks of all he did not do, the fights he left, the pride he sold to keep his honor clean and cold. A lesser man might burn the place, might throw old grief in a stranger's face, but he lets the night move through his hands and makes peace where no one understands. He does not ask the world to see how much it cost to move quietly. It is the weight he wears well, the private road he will not tell, a gentleman shaped by the things he hides, walking calm where the darkness rides. It is the weight he wears well. No ringing cry, no warning bell. He holds his pain like a polished shell. That is the weight he wears well. Some men make noise to prove they are strong. Some men stay steady when everything is wrong. He learned in silence under midnight spell that dignity is a secret done well. The glass stays warm after he is gone. The candle leans where he sat alone. No speech, no trace, no story to sell. Only the weight he wore well. Black coffee before dawn. The night is nearly gone. He sits where the candlelight holds back the morning wrong. He paid a stranger's hospital bill. then told the desk to keep it still. Some kindness loses half its grace when it has to show its face. He gives in silence, he leaves no name. He never turns compassion into a claim. Black coffee before dawn, a quiet man moving on. He does the work nobody sees, then disappears with dignity. Black coffee before dawn, the soft brush drums roll on. A gentleman with hidden hands, changing lives without demands. The waitress asks if he is alright. He smiles beneath the amber light, says some days are long but they pass, then looks down slowly at his glass. He has no hunger to be praised, no need to have his kindness raised. He knows the purest kind of good is doing what a decent man should. He keeps his mercy out of view and lets the morning start anew. Black coffee before dawn, a quiet man moving on. He does the work nobody sees, then disappears with dignity. Black coffee before dawn, the soft brush drums roll on. A gentleman with hidden hands, changing lives without demands. Not every hero needs a song, not every right repairs a wrong, but one small act in midnight shade can be the cleanest choice he made. The cup runs dry, the blue notes fade. He leaves before thanks can be paid. No signature, no golden crown, just black coffee before dawn. Clean hands, dark road. He carries a private load. The candlelight across his palm shows no panic, shows no alarm. He had a chance to take the prize, to win through polished little lies, but something in his father's face taught him never to sell his grace. He chose the harder, honest way and paid for it at the end of the day. Clean hands, dark road. A gentleman keeps his code. He may not own the golden room, but he does not sleep with hidden doom. Clean hands, dark road. The blues play deep and low. He walks where lesser men explode. With clean hands, dark road. The world rewards the charming thief, the clever smile, the false belief. But he has learned that dirty game leaves a scent no rain can drain. So he sits alone and lets it hurt. No stain upon his collar shirt. His lost anatomy looks severe, but his reflection still stays clear. He does not bargain with his name. He lets the greedy play their game. Clean hands, dark road. A gentleman keeps his coat. He may not own the golden room, but he does not sleep with hidden doom. Clean hands, dark road. The blues play deep and low. He walks where lesser men explode, with clean hands on a dark road. There is a fortune in sleeping well, a quiet heaven, a private hell. He chose the one that leaves no stain and took the dark road through the rain. The candle dies, the bill is paid. His shadow slips through blue arcade. No riches owed, no guilt bestowed, just clean hands on a dark road. Low flame gentleman, seated alone, with a glass of bourbon and a telephone. He lets it ring until the screen turns black. Some old roads do not deserve him back. Jazz bar breeze in a velvet tone, brush drums whisper through muscle and bone. He gives no sign of the war inside, just a careful smile and a lowered pride. He keeps the fire where it belongs, beneath the silence, behind the songs. A low flame gentleman, burning where nobody can. He moves through trouble without display and lets the foolish fade away. A low flame gentleman, no loud command, no desperate plan, just steady eyes and a private stand. A low flame gentleman. There was a promise he had to break, not for betrayal, but for mercy's sake. He took the blame and let it stay, so someone else could walk away. The candle shakes like it understands the cost of clean and empty hands. He has no trophy for being right, only peace at the end of the night. He knows the difference between pride and peace. He lets revenge release its lease. A low flame gentleman, burning where nobody can. trouble without display, and lets the foolish fade away. A low-flame gentleman, no loud command, no desperate plan, just steady eyes and a private stand. A low-flame gentleman. Is not surrender, his calm is not defeat. He learned the soul grows stronger when anger leaves its seat. The band plays low, the hour thins. He takes his coat and folds his sins. The room still feels the heat he ran. A low-flame gentleman. He keeps old letters in a leather case, not for longing, not for grace, but to remember what restraint can do when love turns sharp and memory turns blue. He sits where the candlelight breaks in two, one half gold and one half truth. The room is warm, but his mind is clear. He lets the blues come near. He does not open every door. Some memories live better on a quiet floor. Letters he never burned, lessons he slowly learned. He carries every page with care, but never lets the smoke fill the air. Letters he never burned, bridges he never returned. A gentleman can let love in and still protect the name of a friend. There were sentences he could have sent, words designed to leave a dent, but he folded anger into white and gave the paper to the night. A man with class can lose the claim without setting fire to another name. He knows the heart can still be kind, even when it leaves the past behind. He keeps the ache, he drops the blade, he lets forgiveness work in shade. Oh, letters he never burned, lessons he slowly learned. He carries every page with care, but never lets the smoke fill the air. Letters he never burned, bridges he never returned. A gentleman can let love end and still protect the name of a friend. piano brushes like turning pages. The guitar mourns in lower stages. He reads no lines, he speaks no blame. He only guards the older flame. The case goes closed, the glass runs dry. He stands beneath the smoky sky and leaves the room with nothing spurned, just letters he never burned. He is the man who counts the exits, not from fear, but from design. He knows a room can turn against you when truth walks out of line. He sits beneath the candle's shimmer with a calm nobody buys. He has seen enough of people to believe their quiet eyes. He reads the doorways, he reads the air. He knows the danger before it gets there. The man who counts the exits still knows where to stay. He does not run from trouble, he just chooses his way. The man who counts the exits with a low blue soul keeps his heart under command and his silence under control. A stranger tried to test him with a sharp and drunken word. He only turned his glass once, as if nothing had been heard. Because a gentleman knows violence can begin inside the tongue, and the proudest man at evening may be sorry when he is young. He lets the moment lose its heat and keeps his honor on its feet. The man who counts the exits still knows where to stay. He does not run from trouble, he just chooses his way. The man who counts the exits with a low blue soul keeps his heart under command and his silence under control. He has no need to prove the blade, no need to show the steel. True power is deciding which battles are not real. He leaves by the side door after 2. The rain outside is silver blue. The bar breathes out and still respects the man who counts the exits. He keeps a pocket watch beside his glass, silver worn from years that passed. It ticks like truth beneath the smoke, counting every word he never spoke. He came from a room where papers lay, where family names were signed away. He took the smallest share with grace, so no one else would lose their place. He does not measure life by gold. He knows some mercy must stay untold. Pocket watch mercy. Time moves slow but clean. He gives without a witness and leaves no trace between. Pocket watch mercy, a gentleman unseen. He carries what he chooses with a calm no crowd can read. The candle throws a trembling line across his sleeve in old red wine. He thinks of brothers still asleep who never knew the price was deep. He could have spoken, could have won, could have brought every shadow to the sun. But quiet men know when to spare the ones who were never built to bear. He takes the wound, he pays the cost, and calls it peace instead of loss. Pocket watch mercy. Time moves slow but clean. He gives without a witness and leaves no trace between. Pocket watch mercy, a gentleman unseen. He carries what he chooses with a calm no crowd can read. There are clocks inside a man that no one hears but him. There are choices made in midnight when the public lights grow dim. He closes the watch and stands alone, leaves the candle, leaves the stone. No one knows what he set free, only time and mercy. Low voice at closing time. He speaks in measured lines. To a young man shaking near the door, who had never felt so poor, he says, do not answer rage with rage. Do not make your heart a cage. A man is more than what he breaks, and less than what his pride mistakes. He knows because he walked that road with heavy fists and a heavier load. Low voice at closing time, a lesson dressed in smoke and wine. He gives no sermon, claims no throne, just wisdom carved from nights alone. Low voice at closing time, dark blues under every line. A gentleman with nothing to prove, teaching strength by how he moves. The young man leaves before the rain, carrying less of his own pain. The old bar sighs, the candles lean against the quiet in-between. He never says he saved a soul, never makes compassion whole. He only pays for both their drink and lets the room decide what it thinks. He has been angered, he has been fired. Now he is patient, dressed in tired desire. Low voice at closing time, a lesson dressed in smoke and wine. He gives no sermon, claims no throne, just wisdom carved from nights alone. Low voice at closing time, dark blues under every line. A gentleman with nothing to prove, teaching strength by how he moves. Sometimes a man is safe from wrong by one calm word and one slow song, by someone who has touched the flame and left with grace instead of shame. The chairs go up, the lights turn low. He tips his hat and starts to go. The night remembers every line from a low voice at closing time. His silence paid the debt tonight, in a room of candlelight. He had the proof inside his coat, but never let the paper float. A friend had failed him years before, then came back knocking at the door. He could have ended every lie with one cold look and one reply. But he remembers what mercy costs and how a man can win by choosing loss. His silence paid the debt, no need to make them regret. He let the truth stay folded tight and carried justice out of sight. His silence paid the debt, with no revenge and no threat. A gentleman knows when to leave, a broken man room to breathe. The bar was crowded, dim and warm, but he sat still inside the storm. guitar moan like old regret, the kind of heart cannot forget. He watched the guilty laugh too loud, hide in fear beneath the crowd, then turned away with steady grace and left forgiveness in his place. He kept his anger in his hand, then opened it like falling sand. His silence paid the debt, no need to make them regret. He let the truth stay folded tight and carried justice out of sight. His silence paid the debt, with no revenge and no threat. A gentleman knows when to leave, a broken man room to breathe. There is power in a spared man's name, there is class in refusing shame. Some victories are not announced, some balances are quietly counted. The proof stayed dry, the night moved on, the candles bowed before the dawn. No one knew what had been kept, only that his silence paid the debt. The corner knows his name by now, though no one ever asks him how. He claims a shadow near the wall, and somehow still controls it all. His coat is dark, his glass is neat, his shoes keep rhythm under the seat. The candlelight has learned his face, a map of discipline and grace. He does not enter like a king, yet every silence starts to sing. The corner knows his name, but he never asks for fame. He carries purpose under skin and lets the deep blue music in. The corner knows his name, no public wound, no careless flame. The gentleman who leaves no claim, still the corner knows his name. He comes here when the world gets loud, when pride starts shouting in the crowd. He comes to think, not to forget, to weigh the choices not made yet. Tonight he decides to walk away from a war that wants another day. Not every insult needs a throne, not every fight should follow home. He folds his anger, sets it down, and lets restraint become his crown. The corner knows his name, but he never asked for fame. He carries purpose under skin and lets the deep blue music in. The corner knows his name, no public wound, no careless flame. The gentleman who leaves no claim, still the corner knows his name. The room can feel what he withholds, the quiet heat, the controlled cold. Presence is not always sound. Sometimes it is the space around. He leaves before the lamps grow pale. No grand goodbye, no dramatic trail. But when the candle shakes its flame, the corner still knows his name. The old piano knows his face. It has seen him choose restraint and grace, seen him arrive with heavy eyes and leave without a single lie. He sits near the stage but not too close, where candlelight moves like a ghost. His voice stays low, his posture clean, a quiet force behind the scene. He lets the keys say what he cannot. A man remembers what time forgot. Old piano, quiet man, holding sorrow in his hand. He does not need the world to hear how much he lost to standing clear. Old piano, quiet man, still walking by a private plan. The music bends, the silence ran for an old piano and a quiet man. He once had dreams with golden doors, big ambitions, crowded floors. But he learned that peace is rarely loud, and truth gets lost inside a crowd. Now he wants a smaller light, a cleaner name, a calmer night, a glass that warms, a chord that stays, and strength enough for harder days. He leaves the noise, he keeps the tone. He finds his kingdom sitting alone. Oh, piano, quiet man, holding sorrow in his hand. He does not need the world to hear how much he lost to standing clear. Oh, piano, quiet man, still walking by a private plan. The music bends, the silence ran for an old piano and a quiet man. The keys are chipped, the wood is worn, but still the deepest songs are born. He smiles once as the bass walks slow, because worn things learn how to glow. The last chord fades beneath the fan. He lays down cash with a steady hand. The night remembers what began with an old piano and a quiet man. His head lies beside his whiskey, like a black moon on the bar. He has come from decisions that left no visible scar. The candlelight touches his knuckles. The guitar bends low and slow. He hears the city asking questions he answered years ago. He never hurries to prove he is right. He lets the truth mature in the dark of the night. The hat beside his whiskey, the silence in his hand. A gentleman makes choices that few will understand. The hat beside his whiskey, the shadow on the wall. He never raises his voice, yet he commands it all. He once had a temper like lightning, a quick and dangerous spark. But age taught him patience in rooms without a mark. Now he can sit through insult, let a cheap remark go dry, because not every fool deserves a fire from his eye. He saves the strength for heavier days and lets small storms lose their ways. The hat beside his whiskey, the silence in his hand. A gentleman makes choices that few will understand. The hat beside his whiskey, the shadow on the wall. He never raises his voice, yet he commands it all. There is wisdom in a pause. There is class in walking clean. There are victories made private that the world has never seen. He places the hat back on his head, leaves no confession, leaves no thread. The candle flickers, the night stays still, like it bows to his quiet will. gentleman with a scarred ring does not speak of anything that silver circle on his hand has crossed a fire few understand. He sits below a yellow flame, not searching for a face to blame. The candle sees the quiet cost of loving well and letting lost. He keeps the promise, though love has changed. Some vows survive when hearts rearrange. The gentleman with the scarred ring lets the old blues singer sing. He does not make his sorrow loud. He does not bleed into the crowd. The gentleman with the scarred ring still carries grace through everything. A man can lose a shared dream and keep his honor clean. There were rooms divided late. There were papers, keys, and fate. He gave a peace instead of war and left his pride outside the door. The band plays soft, the bass walks deep around the things he does not keep. He looks at where the ring was worn and does not curse the coming morn. He lets the memory have its chair, then walks away with tender care. The gentleman with the scarred ring lets the old blues singer sing. He does not make his sorrow loud. He does not bleed into the crowd. The gentleman with the scarred ring still carries grace through everything. A man can lose a shared dream and keep his honor clean. A scar is not a broken chain. It is proof a man survived the rain and chose to heal without display in his own deliberate way. He turns the ring beneath the light, then pockets it before the night. No farewell speech, no wounded sting, just a gentleman with the scarred ring. He reads the fine print of the soul where the broken promises roll, not in anger, not in fear, but with a patience sharp and clear. The jazz bar glows in amber lines, like old truth poured through darker wines. He takes his seat without a claim, and never asks who knows his name. He knows the contract of being grown. Some terms are paid in nights alone. Fine print of the soul, where quiet men keep control. He signs his name to what is true, and leaves the lies for other fools. Fine print of the soul, a gentleman paid in self-control. He bears the clauses no one reads, and lives by actions, not by needs. He once believed a handshake held, until a trusted brother failed. Now he forgives but does not sleep beside the wolves he used to keep. He is not bitter, he is clear. He lets the lessons settle near. The blues guitar, the candle flame, both understand what changed his name. He gives no speech, he makes no scene. He keeps his memory sharp and clean. Fine print of the soul, where quiet men keep control. He signs his name to what is true, and leaves the lies for other fools. Fine print of the soul, a gentleman paid in self-control. He bears the clauses no one reads, and lives by actions, not by needs. Every man has hidden terms, every heart has things it learns. He found his peace in reading slow and knowing when to let one go. The candle sinks, the night unfolds. The final note turns soft and old. He walks away with purpose whole, reading the fine print of the soul.
Silence had a name tonight, but nobody dared to say it right. He came in dressed in navy wool, with eyes composed and pockets full. Not full of money, not full of lies, but folded pain and old goodbyes. He sat beneath the candle flame and gave the room no need for shame. He does not enter to be admired. He only rests where truth is tired. The silence had a name, but it never asked for fame. It moved like smoke through amber light and held the room through half the night. The silence had a name, a gentleman without a claim. No public wound, no reckless flame, but everyone felt the silence had a name. He had a chance to speak his grief, to turn old loss into belief, but some pain loses what it means when dragged beneath the public beams. So he let the singer carry weight, let the bass line open up the gate. He took his sorrow neat and slow and gave the world no open show. He knows the art of standing still, and how restraint can shape the will. The silence had a name, but it never asked for fame. It moved like smoke through amber light and held the room through half the night. The silence had a name, a gentleman without a claim. No public wound, no reckless flame, but everyone felt the silence had a name. There are men you hear before they arrive, and men whose quiet keeps rooms alive. He was not loud, but all the same, the silence answered to his name. When he stepped out, the bar stayed changed, like every shadow rearranged. The last blue chord became the frame for the silence that had a name. Purpose in a dark blue room, candlelight against perfume. He sits alone but not undone, like the night has chosen only one. His glass is full of amber thought, his battles won by wars not fought. He lets a careless laughter rise, keeps his truth behind his eyes. He knows direction, can whisper low, and silent men still make things go. Purpose in a dark blue room, a quiet heart in velvet gloom. Does not ask the world for space, he earns it with a steady face. Purpose in a dark blue room, no need to bloom, no need to bloom. He moves with grace, he seals his doom, and finds his way through dark blue room. He has a family counting on the choice is made when hope is gone. So he drinks one glass and thinks it through, what a decent man should do. A selfish road will cost him less, but leave a stain he could not dress. So he chooses duty over ease, and lets his silence keep the peace. He pays in sleep, he pays in pride, but keeps the damage locked inside. Purpose in a dark blue room, a quiet heart in velvet gloom. He does not ask the world for space, he earns it with a steady face. Purpose in a dark blue room, no need to bloom, no need to bloom. He moves with grace, he seals his doom, and finds his way through dark blue room. The brush drums fall like patient rain, the guitar speaks his hidden pain, but he will rise before the dawn and carry every promise on. The candle dies, the shadows bloom. He leaves with purpose from the room. No one knows what he decided there, but the night still feels him in the air.
There is a table reserved until midnight for a man who moves like low lamplight. He arrives alone but not incomplete, with polished shoes and a steady heartbeat. The waiter knows his quiet stare, the candle knows the weight in the air. He orders slow, he speaks with care, and leaves his sorrow sitting there. He has no hunger for careless sound, his strongest answers never leave the ground. Reserved until midnight for the man who chooses right. He keeps his trouble out of sight and lets the blues hold him tight. Reserved until midnight in the bar's low golden light. He gives the room no wound to find, just purpose moving through his mind. A crooked offer came that day, wrapped in a clean and charming way. It promised comfort, promised more, but smelled like smoke behind the door. He turned it down with no parade, no righteous speech, no debt unpaid. Some men are rich from what they take. He sleeps well from what he forsakes. He knows temptation can dress refined, but peace is wealth to a disciplined mind. Reserved until midnight for the man who chooses right. He keeps his trouble out of sight, and lets the blues hold him tight. Reserved until midnight in the bar's low golden light. He gives the room no wound to find, just purpose moving through his mind. Let the city count its dirty gold, let the bright men do what they are told. He would rather leave with empty hands than live inside another man's demands. The clock strikes 12, the chair is free, the candle fades respectfully. He leaves no stain upon the night, reserved until midnight.
A quiet man's last toast tonight lifts no glass toward the light. He raises it only in his mind to every wound he left behind. The bar is dim, the candle bends, the old blues band becomes his friend. He has decided not to stay where his soul must fade away. He does not slam the closing door, he simply knows he owes no more. A quiet man's last toast to the battles he held close, to the nights he never showed, to the strength no one owed. A quiet man's last toast to the ghosts he loved the most. He leaves with calm, not with a bow. A quiet man's last toast. There is a job he will not keep, a city that has cost him sleep, a circle smiling through its knives, a room that feeds on decent lives. So he chooses less and chooses free, a smaller road with dignity, no speech to shame the ones who lie, just one clean step to the outside. He lets the old world keep his throne and takes his peace to walk alone. A quiet man's last toast to the battles he held close, to the nights he never showed, to the strength no one knows. A quiet man's last toast to the ghost he loved the most. He leaves with calm, not with a boast. A quiet man's last toast. Some exits are not defeat, some losses make a man complete. He learned the cost of staying still, then chose the road that kept his will. The final chord hangs like smoke. He lays down cash and lifts his coat. No one hears what matters most, a quiet man's last toast. never rushed the doorway, never forced the room, never mistook attention for the shape of truth. He let the evening open like a slow perfume, and sat where the candles made the darkness smooth. There are men who chase a moment till it breaks apart, and men who let the moment come and find their heart. He was the second kind, patient to the bone, comfortable with longing if it meant he kept his soul. He knew desire could lie with a beautiful face, knew time reveals the real in every kind of grace. So he let the silence ripen, let the glasses sweat, trusting what stays longer than regret. He's the kind of man who waits, not from fear, but from weight. Knows the true thing don't need chasing through the dark, knows a cheap spark dies before it leaves a mark. He's the kind of man who waits, lets the hour choose its shape, and when he moves the room can feel what fate creates. He's the kind man, the kind of man who waits. There was someone once who loved him wild and fast, but a wildfire burns the curtains and the past. Now he chooses slower, wiser, less undone, a gentler kind of courage after what he's come from. The guitar breathed blue into the amber air, the roads made a ghost out of a memory there. He didn't turn away, he didn't lean in hard, he just let his pulse stay level with the bar. He knows what can be built and what was only heat, knows the difference between surrender and defeat. A mature man measures not by what he takes, but by the beautiful disasters he refuses to make. He's the kind of man who waits, not from fear, but from weight. Knows the true thing don't need chasing through the dark, knows a cheap spark dies before it leaves a mark. He's the kind of man who waits, lets the hour choose its shape, and when he moves the room can feel what fate creates. He's the kind of man who waits. Waiting is not weakness, no, it's strength, refined and worn low. It's choosing not to ruin what could grow. It's knowing every yes deserves a no, and if his hand reaches out at last, it means the future outranked the past. So let the young man run toward anything that shines. He'll be here with the night and his deliberate mind. When the right thing comes, it won't come late. It'll come to the kind of man who waits.
came in smelling faintly of rain, harbor fog and evening trains, salt on the hem of his overcoat, a goodbye locked inside his throat. He chose the seat beneath the fan, laid down the keys from another man. A boat horn cried beyond the street, while brush drums moved beneath his feet. He had delivered one last favor for a friend who lost his way, then refused the easy money and let the dark water take the blame. Harbor suit, midnight mind, leaving dangerous luck behind. He knows the cost of looking clean when every choice cuts in between. Harbor suit, candle glow, the kind of man you barely know. But when he turns and leaves the room, you feel the tide obey the moon. There was an envelope sealed in black. He could have opened, could have attacked. Inside were names and hidden crimes, enough to ruin certain lives. But one child's future stood in range, so he made the harder exchange. He kept the truth until the dawn, then burned the leverage and moved on. Not every righteous thing is loud, not every sinner needs a crowd. He drew a border none could see between justice and cruelty. Harbor suit, midnight mind, leaving dangerous luck behind. He knows the cost of looking clean when every choice cuts in between. Harbor suit, candle glow, the kind of man you barely know. But when he turns and leaves the room, you feel the tide obey the moon. The singer's voice fell rough and low, like rope across a wooden bow. He watched the wax run down the side and let the ocean keep its pride. A gentleman can close a door without declaring there was war. He walked back out through silver mist, with no reward and no clenched fist. The harbor lights blinked one by one, for the quiet work a man had done. He never speaks in sharpened tones, never builds himself from broken bones. wears understatement like a suit, with a quiet collar and polished boots. The room is full of borrowed pride, men selling stories they cannot hide. He only listens, slight half smile, letting truth arrive after a while. He does not need a louder claim. The strongest fire can hide its flame under statement blues. He has nothing left to prove. He moves like midnight, smooth and spare, a silent force in smoky air. Understatement blues. He knows what not to choose. He wins by walking clean away and leaving less than he could say. Once he trusted every open hand, once he built dreams on shifting sand. Now he reads the weight behind a word and hears the lie before it is heard. Candle shakes when the door swings wide. He keeps his darker thoughts inside. The past may knock, but he decides which ghosts are worthy of a ride. He lets them talk, he lets them spin. He knows the room before walking in. Understatement blues. He has nothing left to prove. He moves like midnight, smooth and spare, a silent force in smoky air. Understatement blues. He knows what not to choose. He wins by walking clean away and leaving less than he could say. His silence is not empty space. It is discipline, taste, and grace. A man refined by what he refused, not by the power he abused. The final chord hangs low and bruised, a perfect shade of midnight blue. Tips his head, the night approves, and fades into understatement blue. Midnight in a tailored suit, buttons closed on what he knew. Every line was clean and careful, every silence cut in two.
He had buried rougher versions of himself in older years, turned reckless youth into a language made of posture, smoke and gears. The candlelight kept shifting softly across the drink beside his hand, like memory trying one more time to ask a man to understand. But he had made his peace with distance, made his peace with what remains. Not every loss has to be rescued, some just ask to be contained. Midnight in a tailored suit, a heart still beating on the roof. No cheap confession, no dramatic scene, just a grown man keeping sorrow clean. Midnight in a tailored suit, dark blues and discipline true. He let the room feel all his weight without asking it to participate. There was a phone call he remembered, there was a station he still saw, a woman with a look that said forever just before she changed the law. He didn't curse her, didn't chase it, didn't turn his hurt into a plea. He took the lesson like a gentleman and wore it quietly. The roads rolled low behind the whiskey, the snare brushed dust along the beat, and he sat there like a story only night would dare to read. He knew timing breaks are stronger, knew devotion has its cost. A man becomes more exacting after what he knows he's lost. Oh, midnight in a tailored suit, a heart still beating on the roof. No cheap confession, no dramatic scene, just a grown man keeping sorrow clean. Midnight in a tailored suit, dark blues and discipline truths. He let the room feel all his weight without asking it to participate. It takes a certain elegance to wake without display, to keep your standards polished when the world goes astray. He wasn't hiding weakness, he was honoring the bruise, refusing to make a spectacle of what he had to lose. So let the bar grow dim and the city mute. He'll step back into the rain in his tailored suit, a little older, a little more absolute. Midnight in a tailored suit.
stranger sees. A promise here, a sacrifice there, 1,000 quiet victories. No marble name above the entrance, no portrait in the hall, just a man who held the ceiling when others feared the fall. You can't always see the structure, you can't always hear the strain, but some men keep the world upright without explaining pain. Silent architecture, steel beneath the skin, a calm design the dark can't enter in. He draws his lines with steady hands, builds his peace where chaos stands. Warm analog strings in a smoky room, soft drums walking through the gloom. He is not loud, but he is sure, a gentleman with foundations pure. He sits where candlelight is patient, where the glass can hold the past. He does not chase a louder future, he builds a future made to last. Every scar became a column, every loss became a stare. He never asked the crowd to notice how much weight was hidden there. There's a blueprint in his silence, there's a reason in his rest. He knows a man without control can never build his best. Silent architecture, stone behind the smile. He makes endurance look like style. He carries storms through narrow doors and turns regret to polished floors. Deep raspy voice, low blues refrain, candlelight breathing through the rain. No noisy proof, no wasted art, just discipline around the heart. He once confused collapse with feeling, once confused revenge with strength. Now he measures every action by its shadow and its length. He does not decorate with anger, does not furnish rooms with blame. He keeps his house of spirit clean and walks through it by name. When he leaves, the bar feels taller, like something held has been released. His silence stays among the rafters, an unseen structure made of peace. No monument, no public cure, just silent architecture. He carries rain and silk tonight, a folded stone beneath the light. His shoes are shined, his face is calm, but thunder lives inside his palm. The window cries against the street. He keeps the rhythm with his feet. Nobody knows the calls he missed, the prayers he made with tightened fists. He don't complain, he don't pretend. He simply learns where roads must end. He carries rain and silk, soft as smoke, cold as guilt. Every tear he never shows falls where only silence knows. He stands refined, though sorrow spills. He carries rain and silk. His father's watch still runs too slow, like it's holding on to years ago. He hears advice from older days: keep your honor, guard your ways. So he turns from deals that shine too bright and chooses less to sleep at night. There's power in the word decline. There's peace in drawing one clear line. He may lose the easier goal, but keeps the man he has to hold. He carries rain in silk, soft as smoke, cold as guilt. Every tear he never shows falls where only silence knows. He stands refined, though sorrow spills. He carries rain in silk. Let the gamblers chase the flame. Let the hungry sell their name. He will take the slower road with a cleaner, heavier load. Rain keeps tapping on the glass. He lets the cheaper chances pass. In candlelight composed and still, he carries rain in silk.
I'm just a man in the amber light, half remembered by the room where the polished wood holds fingerprints and the roses die too soon. The glass behind the counter shows a stranger with my eyes, a little older, a little quieter, a little harder to surprise. I learned to keep my counsel when the world got quick to lie, to let the truth arrive on its own instead of forcing a reply. It ain't that I don't feel it, it ain't that I don't care. I just refuse to make a stage out of burdens I can bear. A man in the amber light looks softer than he is. He lets the music wear the ache while he protects what still lives. No thunder in the telling, no begging to be known, just a calm voice in a dark room, holding discipline alone. She once said my kind of love was built like an old hotel, full of locked and tender rooms and stories it would never tell. Maybe she was right about me, maybe she was wrong in part, because I never hid affection, I just guarded the deeper heart. I gave what could be honored, I withheld what would be wasted. There are people who love loudly and leave everything they tasted. I prefer a steadier language and a look, a chair held back. All the finest forms of mercy rarely arrive in a tag. A man in the amber light may look like he survived too much, but grace has made him careful, and pain has refined his touch. He chooses every sentence like a tailor cuts a line, not to seem above the damage, but to keep the damage mine. Hear that rolls behind the guitar like smoke around a flame. That's how memory moves through me without asking for a name. Every wound I carry privately still change the way I stand. A little more exact in judgment, a little more deliberate in hand. When the last brush fades to silence and the stools go upside down, I'll step into the sleeping street without a heavy sound. Just a man in the amber light, leaving warmth where he had been. Proof that not all depth arrives with a shout above the din.
lantern room. Soft brush drums cut through the gloom. He got a plan that nobody sees, folded up clean with the bar receipts. Warm guitar crying like a warning sign. He smiles once and takes his time. He don't gamble with a restless hand. He don't move till he understands. Power ain't loud, power waits, then walks right through the iron gates. Smoke and ambition, midnight precision, whiskey calm and a dangerous grace. Blue light falling on a thoughtful face. Smoke and ambition, a quiet man with a clear decision. They think he's cold, but it's just control, built from pressure, polished in gold. Every late night made him wise. Every betrayal sharpened his eyes. No wasted motion, no wasted breath. He learned from loss and danced with death. He don't gamble with a restless hand. He don't move till he understands. Power ain't loud, power waits, then walks right through the iron gates. Smoke and ambition, midnight precision, whiskey calm and a dangerous grace. Blue light falling on a thoughtful face. Smoke and ambition, a quiet man with a clear decision. In a room full of desperate men, he knows when not to speak again. The deepest river makes no show, but it moves the earth below. Smoke fades out, ambition stays. Neon burns through alleyways. He leaves no proof, he leaves no sound, just power where his feet touched ground. After the last brush stroke on the snare, the room gets honest, stripped and bare. You can hear the glasses cooling down. You can feel the secrets settle in the brown. That's when I'm most myself in here. Not before the crowd, not through the cheer, but at the edge of closing time, where memory and judgment rhyme. I've lived enough to know the loudest men are never deep, and some of the strongest souls are the ones that never speak. After the last brush stroke, I remain with the polished wood and the hidden pain. No theater left, no borrowed road, just the low dark shape of a guarded soul. I've made peace with caring more
than I would ever put on the floor. And every quiet year I've known has taught me how to stand alone. There's a photograph back home in a drawer. I don't take it out much anymore. Not because I'm hardened to the face, but because I've given sorrow proper place. It doesn't get the center of the room. It doesn't get to perfume all my doom. It lives where old things should, remembered, clean and understood. That's maturity in a minor key, to let the past just be, without turning every wound into identity. After the last brush stroke, let it fade, like all the reckless promises we made. I won't insult the years by pretending that grief was only made for ending. It also teaches how to bend without breaking in the end. And every quiet year I've known has taught me how to stand alone. Play the guitar like a low blue sigh, let the note hang under the sky. There are men who never learn how not to touch what makes them burn. I learned, and it cost me dear, but the lesson still keeps me here. After the last brush stroke, close the bar, leave one candle for the heart. I'll step into the sleeping street and keep my silence neat.
Hey. The room is a cathedral made of smoke. Piano notes fall heavy, one by one. I wear my patience like an iron cloak, a king who smiles after he won. Blue guitar weeps in a minor prayer. Sub-bass rolls like distant thunder. They speak my name with careful air, because they know what happens under. Not a scream, just a lowering tone, a colder law than flesh and bone. I don't rush, I let it burn. I watch the world in silence learn. Place the crown where the light won't stay. I rule the hush at the end of the day. Brass stabs bloom like a funeral rose. Trap drums crawl where the fear still goes. I don't need cheers, I don't need flames, only the ash and the whispered names. I built my throne from the almost and yet, from every promise that couldn't deliver. Their gratitude tastes like quiet regret, a glass of night that makes you shiver. I pledge drift wide like a winter sea, strings rise slow like a verdict lifting. They look for a crack they won't find in me, because my mercy is always shifting. I give you space to kneel with grace, I give you time to know your place. No violence here, just consequence, a polished, patient influence.
Hold the crown in the black owl's palm. I conduct the storm with a measured calm. Deep kicks land like sealed decrees. Hi-hats whisper through iron trees. No savior waits in the smoke you pass. Only the crown and the crown of that. String risers climb like a slow eclipse. Guitar bends sigh at the edge of men. I don't destroy, I simply shift. Turn gold to dust with a careful lift. If you want power, pay the price in sleep. If you want peace, learn how to keep. Ceremony ends and the shadows remain. My empire arms in a low refrain. Bow if you want, or stand either way. The crown is mine when the lights decay.